You know, with this cold weather, we get a lot of slips and falls. People get hurt, and then most importantly, there's that danger of frostbite.
Yeah, the wind chill really down there. 9 Health reporter Dr. John Torres joins us from his nice, warm clinic down there in Colorado Springs to talk more about it.
Short sleeves.
I know. You look like springtime down there.
There you go.
Hey, I know you see an upswing of injuries in bad weather like this, people slipping and falling and what have you, but besides staying in, is there anything else you can do besides staying in and being careful to avoid falls?
You know, the main thing is to make sure you know where you're walking, because just because there's snow on the ground doesn't mean there's not ice underneath that, or doesn't mean the snow itself isn't going to be slippery. So there's a couple of things you can do and a couple of things you need to think about. And probably the most important thing, and if you talk to any experts, they say walk like a penguin walks. And if you look at penguins, you know, they kind of do this thing with their feet out to the side, their arms are spread out a little bit, and they're doing kind of a waddle thing with their feet wide as well. You want to do that. You want to just go ahead and slowly step, waddle a little bit, get your feet spread out to the side, and keep your arms out. That's probably the most important thing, to keep balance. If you're going down an incline, one thing to think about is to try and think about doing it sideways, where you just do a sideways step down the incline. That way you can make sure that you're getting all the traction you can get, and if you do happen to slip, you can catch yourself really well. Don't have things in your arm, both arms in particular, because you want to make sure that you use those for balance, and those are probably the most important steps.
Makes sense. So often we walk with our hands in our pockets, and
That's right.
Ooh, that's dangerous. So
Right.
when we talk about frostbite, you know, how quickly can we get it, and if it does happen, what are we supposed to do?
You know, there's frostbite and there's frost nip, and those are just a degree of each other. Essentially what happens is the skin starts freezing, then the muscles, then the blood vessels start freezing. Frost nip means basically you get the skin and a little below the skin. We've all probably experienced that to some extent if we've been skiing or any kind of snow activities. Frostbite means that basically everything's frozen, and that skin, that appendage or skin area is probably going to have a hard time coming back. The best thing to do, obviously, is to dress in layers, make sure you don't get wet, make sure you don't sweat too much. But if you do start noticing some tingling or burning sensation in the finger, then that means you're starting to head towards frost nip, and you want to go ahead and put it under your armpit, put it somewhere next to your body where it can warm up if you're outside. And of course, the main thing is to get inside. Once you're inside, the best thing to do, you don't want to rub snow on it, you don't want to rub anything because you're just going to damage the tissue. The best thing to do is to put it in lukewarm water. Now that's going to be very painful though, so you want to make sure you take some ibuprofen or acetaminophen or something before you do that or while you're doing it, because again, once that blood starts rushing back in there, it's going to be very painful. But if you start getting frostbite, then it might get to the point where it's just beyond repair.
Right, and that's lukewarm, not hot. I know when I was a kid back in the Midwest, nobody put their hands or their feet in hot water, which was your first impulse when you were so cold.
Right, you want it at about 100 degrees, so it's going to be a little higher than body temperature. So it's not very warm. You know, water boils at 212, so you want it, you know, not even close to that. So right around 100 degrees, and it's going to feel very hot because that finger, the nose, the ear, you know, whatever part is frostbitten or frost nipped is going to feel very cold.
Whew, okay, all right. Well, we'll take the precautions first and foremost. Thanks, Dr. John.
You bet.